Welcome to the spiritual journey. In this week's episode, we have Sinead Catherine, who is a holistic life coach, a Rahanni healer and teacher, a soul plan reader, and so much more. So welcome.
Thank you, Lindsay.
So, you know what it is? I can never remember how I end up meeting people because there's so many different avenues now, isn't there, via social media? I think we connected on Instagram, didn't we?
We connected on Facebook.
Was it Facebook?
So yeah, I think I joined, a friend of mine was in your Consciousness Rising group.
Yeah.
So I joined the group and then I added you as a friend. And we just connected that way. And it was like, well, we do similar things, and that was it really. And then obviously you experienced Rahanni.
Yeah.
And which seems so long ago now, Lindsay, if I'm honest.
I know, doesn't it? The time just really flies. So do you want to tell us, Sinead, a little bit about what Rahanni healing is and sort of how you came upon this particular type of healing?
Okay, so Rahanni literally means of one heart, and it is a fifth dimensional healing modality, and it's known as the healing modality of the golden age of Aquarius. It's thousands of years old and is supposed to have originated from Sirius, Pleiades and Andromeda, and it was channeled through a lady called Carol Stacey. She's the founder of Rahanni, and it's Rahanni Celestial healing, and that's literally how it feels. It's very calming, it's very angelic in nature. It has the ability to just lots of life changes when you experience Rahanni, even physiological healing, and lots of releasing of stuff that no longer serves you. It balances the masculine and feminine energies, and also open and activates your heart center. It's really, really beautiful healing modality. It's very gentle. Lots of people experience it in different ways. Tingling in the body, sensations, feeling like it has the ability to really kind of allow you to release any emotions that you may have been kind of suppressing or repressing or avoiding. So yes, I think I've covered everything.
So how did you come about it? How did you end up going off to learn Rahanni healing?
So I was attuned to Egyptian Reiki, which is known as Setchem, and that was many, many years ago. And I was divinely guided to a metaphysical shop, like a crystal shop, obviously, locally. So I went there and I became friends with the guys that ran the shop, and they were doing this attunement, and I was like, okay, this sounds interesting. Didn't really know too much about it at the time, but I read up on it and it was just like, this sounds like a piece of me. So I was like, I need to be attuned to this, and started practicing. But at that stage, I was very much kind of like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know, am I a healer? Is that what, even though I've been kind of attuned to various other modalities at the time, it's just like, okay. And I was really cautious about using it, and I just decided, over the last year, I said, okay, I'm going to use this modality now and see what happens. And oh my goodness me, it's just mind-blowing. I use it on myself. I mean, it's a healing modality that you can use on any living being, literally, plants, animals, children, adults, anybody and everyone and anything. And it's so that's pretty much how I discovered it. But no sooner as I when I started practicing it, I was like, I need to become a teacher. I want to be able to share this gift, because that's truly what it is, a gift with other people. And I'm sure when you kind of attune yourself to any healing modality, you are activated more spiritually as well. It kind of really opens you up. But I noticed that with all the clients that I kind of channel and send the energy to, it activates them as well. So it actually has the capability to clear past life traumas, and it's just unreal.
The thing is, with all these different types of healing modalities that I've been speaking to guests about, it's like you have to it's whatever you feel drawn to, isn't it? So you obviously felt drawn to this for a reason. You followed your heart and you went and you learned it. So I experienced it, because you can send it via distance as well, can't you?
Yes, in fact, all my clients at the moment are distance clients, and the majority of them are in the States.
Oh, really? Oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, majority are in the States, and I've had a client in Australia as well.
Yeah, because I said to you, didn't I, like, so when I was sat there receiving the healing, I said that I could feel you, especially on my right side, didn't I?
Mm,
And you
mm,
picked up something around the divine masculine. And then
mm.
in my mind, I'd got Amy Winehouse. And because I've had quite a lot of like past, like, well-known people coming through recently, I was like, oh my God, I need to sit with Amy Winehouse now and speak with her. But then you said that a lot of people say that you actually remind them of
Yes.
Amy Winehouse, didn't you?
Yes, I have had that on many occasions, and I don't think because we hadn't really connected, so it's probably like we didn't really like see each other or kind of,
No.
connect on that level. So yeah, possibly was Amy Winehouse, but it just seems that it's very coincidental that people do say that I resemble her at times. So yeah, I think it's just the look. I don't know.
Yeah, but it did feel sort of like, I suppose, a bit like Reiki energy, but you could definitely feel it more around the heart area.
Mm,
And I think I remember you picking up on some bits around the heart as well. And it does leave you feeling like really calm and really relaxed, etc. And I think the thing with like Rahanni or any other sort of healing is we don't always feel the healing at the time, do we?
That's right.
Sometimes it comes out later when we're faced with like a certain circumstance or situation, and we may behave differently, and we wonder why. And it's because we've cleared something, utilizing the different types of healing. So what other sort of like healing modalities have you experienced yourself on your journey?
Firstly, I just want to quickly say about Rahanni is that it's very high vibrational, and it's different to Reiki because it is a higher vibration. And that's literally, it's the difference. So Reiki is very much for the third dimension, whereas which no longer exists, obviously, but Rahanni is fifth dimensional and can go to the like fourth dimensional kind of being. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there as well. But the other healings that I've experienced, as in kind of had done on me, Reiki, and Setchem and Rahanni. So all three of those, crystal healing, soul plan healing as well.
Yeah, we'll go talk about that.
Which was phenomenal. I have no words. So I was just like, okay. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute, but yes, what else? Goodness me, I'm not sure. I've done a lot of my own healing, really. Not just, I think when you kind of do a lot of self-development, you also do kind of energy healing at the same time. So but I do use, as I said, I do use Rahanni on myself a lot, especially if I have like period pains. Or toothache, or it does.
I was just going to ask, like, do you have like a spiritual practice? Like, is there certain things that you do every day, or is there certain things that, like, do you journal, do you meditate, what
all of it?
Do you? Yeah.
all of it, yeah. First thing in the morning, I try to get up earlier than my daughter so I can spend some time to myself to prepare myself for the day. Journal, gratitude, also meditation throughout the day. I'm channeling now as well, so I know that I need to kind of make some videos because that's coming through really clearly. So yeah, and movement. I'm finding myself doing a lot of kind of when I kind of do, like, I'm gonna channel for clients, like the healing and everything, I actually kind of do this whole ritual that kind of incorporates the movement and calling in the archangels and ascended masters, and just kind of all very feminine in nature, I think. But it just makes me feel so much more connected to the energy. So yeah.
So you just mentioned the soul plan readings. So you've just recently gone and learned how to do those, haven't you?
Yes.
But did you have your own soul plan done at the time as well?
So I have been drawn to soul plan reading for some time now. Again, probably the same as like many things, we get drawn to certain things, we're not really sure why.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because both the Rahanni and the soul plan are both based on the star of creation, so the six-pointed star as well. So I found that's quite interesting. But yeah, so I made sure that I had a soul plan reading before I did the course. And I'm glad I did it like a couple of weeks before I was going to do the course, because it was so powerful. And it literally, it just clears you completely, releases everything that's no longer needed. And I had the reading and I was like, oh, it's okay. As you said earlier, you kind of have the healing and you're fine, and the next minute you're knocked out for the next 3 days.
Yeah.
And that's literally how I felt. It's just like, oh, this is really nice. And you know, the soul plan reading in itself was really, really kind of highlighted a lot of things. It was like, wow, if I'd have known this years ago, I wish, do you know what I mean? I would have saved so much time. So it's just like, so it goes through your, like, your challenges, your any challenges that you're going to experience on a worldly and spiritual level. So we're talking physical, mental, emotional, and obviously spiritual. And then it goes into your goals and your talents and how you can utilize your goals and talents to overcome your challenges and then ultimately fulfill your life and soul purpose and soul destiny. And people are so kind of in jobs that they hate doing, and they don't know what they're supposed to be doing. They don't know what's going to be coming around the corner. They've been going through so many challenges in their life, and there's just like, why me kind of thing. So if anybody wants an insight into why they are here, then soul plan reading will absolutely blow your mind, because it's so accurate. So it's based on the numerological value and vibration of the letters of your name. And you basically, so it's based on your birth name, so what's put on your birth certificate, but there's another layer where you can go into it, so if you change your names and that kind of thing. But so yes, that's how that literally plays out your entire life. And it's so interesting because you wouldn't think so, because you think, oh well, my mum just gave me my name because it was my grand's name, or she just thought I looked like a Sinead or a Sarah or a Lindsay, do you know what I mean? When actually, when we name people, it's actually telepathic. Like, it comes through telepathically. So this is like, this is who you are as a child, that's your soul purpose, and then we have all this layers of conditioning that's kind of plonked upon us. So we're trying to undo it all. But with the soul plan reading, it literally tells you what your soul is going to go through in this lifetime and what you're here to do. So at the end of the reading, as I spoke about earlier, the healing element is literally, it brings down this, your soul hologram, and places it into your DNA and everything now. And it just, as I say, it's just mind-blowing. I was literally, I had the healing, I was fine, and then for the next 3 days it was intense, because it was so, it did a lot of clearing for me. And I think that I'm pretty good at clearing my own energy, when actually obviously not. you still need somebody else to kind of help you, because there's only so much you can do.
And I think sometimes one of the lessons for us as well is, even as healers, it's like, there's sometimes the energy does feel really heavy, and it's sometimes I feel it's just like the universe or upstairs is like, you just need a rest, just chill out, let this work through you, do you know what I mean? So whether it's a day or 2 days. But the soul plans, I had mine done about 3 years ago by a lady near where I live called Jude Robinson. And like you said, she did this, like the healing bit and the meditation, and I burst out crying, and I did not expect to be crying with her. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. She's like, don't worry. But because the meditation that she did was very powerful, and it's like, you have like is it a pentagram?
This is the star of creation. The six-pointed
you have the star, don't you? And you have numbers, and then there's words on it and symbols.
So it's the vibration of the letters, which are then kind of well, the letters are given a number. It's actually based on the old Hebrew Gematria ancient letters, and then it's kind of, anyway, I don't want to go into the technicality of it because it just gets too complicated. But yes, each kind of number is given a symbol, and that symbol represents something. But it's not just the numbers and the symbols, it actually goes into the astrological and celestial body governing those numbers and symbols. So what are you likely to experience? Like, for example, in my chart, it says that my challenges are governed by Scorpio, and I have a lot of 8th house in my astrology chart, and Scorpio is the 8th house, so it's all kind of interlinked and entwined. But it also kind of tells you what physical part of your body you may experience issues with. So it's just layer upon layer upon layer. And it's so accurate, accurate.
I know.
And
it tells you
it's just mind-blowing.
I know, it tells you things as well, doesn't it? Like you said, so in mine, one of my challenges is anger. And when I first saw it, I was like, well, I'm not an angry person, I don't get angry. But it's only because for so many years, like I'd suppressed my anger and never allowed myself to get angry or to show what that looked like. So like after I had my soul plan done, it was on the side of my fridge, and basically when I felt the anger coming up, I just started letting it out. Do you know what I mean? Because I was like, I've got to stop suppressing this. But then there was also around what else was there? Being seen. So obviously doing stuff like this and putting myself out there. That was one of my goals, I think it was. And what was the other one? Bringing like-minded people together as well. I feel like I sort of do as well. So it's really interesting when you get it done. Like I said, mine's been on the fridge for the last couple of years, and I've only recently taken it down. But it's a good reminder to have that, sort of like why you're here. Do you know what I mean? Like you said, what your purpose is.
Exactly.
And it's not about becoming that person on the soul plan like straight away.
If you already are that person, it's underneath all that conditioning. And it's just to kind of really give you a sense of, this is why you went through the things that you've gone through, but actually this is what you're good at, and if you try and incorporate more of what you're good at, then you can overcome what you've been through. I was going to say something, but it's completely gone out of my mind. That was right. So even if you just have the reading done itself, so you can have both, you can have the reading and the healing, or you can just have the reading, and even just having the reading activates you energetically, just by kind of understanding the symbols and the numbers, and just looking at the chart is activating for you anyway. So yeah, it's just incredible. And this is what I'm going to do, is that I'm going to kind of offer both. At the moment, I'm offering for people, when they book in, they're going to get both. So it'll be a 90-minute reading and healing. And then what I might do is just do the reading, and people can purchase that, and then obviously they can have the healing as well. It'll be something else, something extra, or both. Do you know what I mean? It's all kind of coming out at the moment. I'm just kind of trying to I've got clients booked in, but it's just a process trying to kind of advertise it and everything. But it's just amazing. I mean, to be honest, I'm quite lucky, because I find that anything that I do or learn, like Rahanni and Soul Plan, are both very life-changing and unique. And I'd like to think that I'm quite unique as well. So
definitely are, Sinead.
Thanks. I don't know if that was a compliment or not.
I was just thinking, like, this is the first time, like the longest that I've heard you not swear.
I know. Yes.
Bless you.
Yes. Well, I do have a mouth of a sailor and a heart of a healer. There you go.
I love that. Oh, that's lovely. So so you've done your soul plan, so you do your Rahanni. So what got you into like the Egyptian healing in the first place? Like, why did you decide to go and learn that? Can you remember?
I think as I mentioned earlier about the names, I think it's all this telepathic stuff. You kind of get drawn to things and you don't actually know why you're drawn to them. It's like, I found this lady, I didn't know anything about Sekhem. I found this lady online and just decided, okay, I want to do this. I can't even remember why I wanted to do it, how I found her or anything, but I spent the whole day with her at her house in London, and she attuned me, and it was just her and I, and it was just, again, and still when we were going through it, I was so innocent about that. I mean, it wasn't that long ago, but I feel like I was so innocent that I didn't really understand what chakras were or what was happening really, but she had lots of crystals and that was enough.
Yeah.
It's just like, yes. I've always been into crystals, and if someone's got crystals, I know that I can trust them to a degree.
So, like, as a child, Sinead, were you like very intuitive, or were you psychic? Did you have those sort of abilities as a kid?
Yes, I've always been very intuitive. I've always been very psychic, but unfortunately, it was never cultivated. Unfortunately, it was misunderstood. I am the black sheep of the family. I still to this day don't think that my family understand what it is I do or who I am to an extent. But so yes, I always used to see spirit. I remember astral projecting as a child. I used to have imaginary friends. I saw visions, colours, everything else, and I think it got to a point where it was just like not accepted and not understood that I started to block it out. And also because it scared me at the time, and it was even more scary because I didn't have anyone to talk to about it. So it was just like, well, I'm just going to block this out. So I feel like I'm actually a late bloomer, so I'm actually coming back to where I was as a child, in that kind of that sense of wonder and rediscovering who I am again. And my daughter, I was saying to you earlier, my daughter has abilities as well, and I feel that it's really important for me to cultivate that within her and to show her that actually this is actually very real and it is normal, you know, instead of making her feel like she's batshit crazy. There goes the swearing, because that's it. That's literally how I was made to feel, like I was off my head. So
I think it was very different back then, wasn't it? And I think unless you were born into a family where someone was already doing that sort of work, then it was very much like, well, I don't understand, you know, and I don't know what to do basically, like with you. So because I remember reading a book, I read Voices in My Ear by Doris Stokes when I was 12, and I loved the fact that there was like spirits. I was like, oh my god, you don't die. Do you know what I mean? I was like, your body's still here, like your physical body dies but your soul carries on. And I would often like say to my mum and dad, I feel like there's spirits in the house, I feel like I'm seeing things, I'm hearing things. And it was like, oh no, you're not. And everything was sort of like, oh no, it's because they couldn't see it and they couldn't understand it. So I think there's a lot of people who are sort of like similar, who are sort of coming back and realizing that actually it's always been within you, but it's just sort of being allowed more to come to the surface again.
Exactly. And also I think that it didn't help that I grew up Catholic, so it was very much like frowned upon, but you know, I was meant to go through that, do you know what I mean, to get to where I am today. I don't, you know, there's a part of me that wishes that I had all these abilities and gifts and kind of lived with them throughout my life. But actually, that's not what my soul was here for.
No.
My soul was here to go through all the crap that I went through to get to who I am today. So I don't regret anything.
No. And it's having those life experiences that enable us to then stay grounded, you know, and be like, what, and not be sort of like all up there. Do you know what I mean? So I think there are some people that when they've gone through it, it's difficult for them to grasp reality and to be able to relate to like people who are going through day-to-day stuff, you know, all the stuff that we're on here on earth to do, you know. And I think when we go through those life experiences, it enables us to connect on a more human level, I think.
Yeah, I believe so. I think this is just like Earth school for many of us. And we never stop learning. The thing is now that I know that what I'm capable of, I want more. I want everything, and I want it now, but that's just me.
No,
But I just, you know,
patience, I think, is one of the biggest lessons down here on earth. It's like
yeah.
for all of us, because many of us, I think, because we've been in that society where it's like, you know, at the click of a button you can order something and it's in your house the next day. And I think many of us are like, right, I just want to be from here, and I want to be like a medium, or I want to be a clairvoyant, or I want to be whatever it is, yeah. And it's like you have to do the work first, and it takes time, and you need to have patience, and you will get there, but it might not just be in the timeline that you want it to be. So, because upstairs,
yeah, divine timing and all that, although time doesn't really exist, but we won't go into that. So,
no.
So yes, but also as well, I mean, it's because I knew that I had all of this very long ago, and it's just like, I wish I had it all back like that. But again, it's just about surrendering to the process and knowing that it will come as and when it's meant to. So yeah, but I have, like, even in just over the last year, I've grown so much spiritually. You know, it's just been, if I think back to this time last year, it just blows my mind. It's just, I can't even put it into words. Many things I talk about, I don't seem to have the words for them.
I know.
It's just the experience. It's just, wow, life is just this journey, this meandering journey with lots of ebbs and flows and winds, and it's just amazing. It really is.
But I was really chuffed to be like on your first Instagram live a couple of weeks ago, and then I think it was last week I saw that you'd done another Instagram live with someone. I was like, yay, go Sinead!
Yeah, another one last week and another one yesterday.
Oh, brilliant. That's really good. So well done for jumping out your comfort zone.
Thank you. Thank you.
So for anyone who's watching this, what sort of like tips would you give them about their own spiritual journey? Or like what tips would you have for them?
I think we discussed this before when we did the live, is that the foundations would be grounding and protecting. So you have some free stuff on your website that people can look at. So that would be the one thing I would start with. To expect the unexpected, yet don't have any expectations. If that even makes sense. I think it does. To remain open-minded, and surrender is a massive one. Just allow things, it's just allowing things to flow, you know. Don't be too kind of, I need this, I need it now, because we just spoke about this, because when you do that, you're actually creating a resistance in the desperation of whatever it is that you're going after, and that's not how the universe works. That would be like a negative vibration, so it's not going to come to you. So you just have to kind of just flow. I think also really learning about your own energy, you know, learn about your divine masculine and your divine feminine as well, and how that plays out in your life. Because I think that if people really understood that, then they could really kind of center themselves and nurture who they are, both sides, to kind of get a better picture of who they are and understand who they are and how their different behaviors play out. And just self-care is not a selfish act. You know, I think that should be a number one priority. And whilst we're on that, I think boundaries as well, really get to learn what your boundaries are. But I think even if somebody's starting their spiritual journey, I think that should just be included in all journeys. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, I think this is one of the major things that we all struggle with is boundaries.
That is a big one, and it's taken your time as well, like you said, isn't it, to learn who you are again without all those programs, without all the conditioning, etc. And it does take a little bit of time and practice as well, because you might be able to set a boundary with one person but then struggle with someone else. And then it's like constantly asking yourself questions, isn't it? It's like, right, why am I reacting like this? Why am I feeling like this? Why? And then you finally get to like the nub of it, don't you? And you're like, and you can have that eureka moment.
I think if we react negatively to somebody, so if we are triggered, for example, then I think it's really important, perhaps not to keep saying, why am I feeling like this? What? Because the word why seems quite critical, like, and judgmental. I think if you kind of reframe it and say, what is this here to teach me? Because every experience, especially the stuff with the negative emotions or the negative reactions or whatever, it's actually here to teach you something about yourself.
Yeah.
You know, what is it here to teach me? What part of me is reacting in this negative way? You know, being a bit more kind of compassionate about it, because and if you start saying, why am I doing this? Why it's almost as if you're feeding, you're fueling that negativity as well. So it's just like, I feel like that. It's just compassion. It's difficult to do, though. It really is difficult to do, but I think this is what's missing in the world these days, is self-compassion.
Definitely learning to love yourself as well.
I mean, what does that even mean? Do you know what I mean? What does that even mean?
I don't even know. I tell myself I love me, and then I treat myself with respect. I treat myself kindly.
But I think it's really down to the individual. I mean, you can look up on Google or whatever, I want to do something to encourage more self-love or whatever, and you get a list of affirmations and a few meditations here and there. But it's just about really connecting with who you are. I think self-love comes from self-understanding.
Definitely.
And compassion towards the stuff that you've been through.
And towards those parts of you that you might not necessarily like so much, you know, and recognizing that it is part of who you are. And the more that you can accept those pieces, then the more that you can love yourself as a whole, and not just the good bits.
And you just said the word accept. It's about self-acceptance.
Definitely.
And I think this is the thing that they should be teaching in schools.
Well, I wish, like you said, you know, I wish they'd taught it from an early age, because can you imagine, like, by the time we're in our early 20s, we'd have life sorted, we'd be like, right, I know my life purpose, this is what I need to do, do you know what I mean? Instead of like nearly 40, and it's like, oh my God, I still don't know what I'm meant to do.
I know.
So,
exactly. But this is where the soul plan reading really helped you as well, you see.
Definitely.
And this is how it's helped me. I think we probably have similar energies in our charts, actually. It's almost as if when I had the reading, it was like, okay, so I'm actually doing what I was meant to do, but it's taken me 43 years to get here.
I think there is that group of us, like, around that age, like I would say between, say, 35 and 45, who are just getting in now, and we're like, right, sorted now, do you know what I mean? And we can just crack on with doing what it is that we need to do and what we're meant to be here for, which is good.
But there are so many people that aren't, do you know what I mean? So many people that are unhappy, and just going to work to earn their keep, to put a roof over their head, pay their bills, feed the kids, whatnot, you know. And it's just, and then obviously once they're in that cycle, in that rat race, it's really difficult to break out of if they want to do something that heart desires, you know. So it's difficult. Life is really difficult.
It's just about creating that dream, isn't it, and sticking to it and being like, right, how can I get there? And just keep just keep an open mind about, like, I posted my picture the other day, didn't I, of the land. I was like, which piece of land is mine? And you were like, have all of it, Lindsay, claim all of it. I was like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Dream big. Why not? I've been looking at gigantic houses around the area. I was like, oh, now I was like, I'd actually put on I'd drawn on my, whenever I do a vision board for the new moon, I draw everything. So the last one I think was the solar eclipse, was it, or the one before in June or something? And so I did it for the next 6 months, and I drew a camper van And I'd put all this down. I'd completely forgotten about it. And then my daughter said today, she said, wouldn't it be really lovely if we got a camper van and we could go to trips anywhere and blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, thank you for reminding me. So now I can think about that again. So I've been Googling away.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? It's like pretending like you've already got it. Do you know what I mean? Imagining and feeling what it's like when you receive it. So I've had a new car on my new moon wish list probably for the last 12 months, but because I've never actually done anything about going for the new car, it's never manifested. And then last month I rang my friend and I said, I feel like I need to go and look for another car because I feel like I just need to get rid of my other one. It was a divorce car and I'm like, it just needs to go now.
That's right, I think you told me.
So so I went with my friend. There was a white feather on the wheel, so I was like, yeah, this is my car, you know, not brand new, it's a second-hand car, but it's a newer car than what I've got. And I'm like, I've now taken the steps to get my car, which has been on my new moon wish list for like the last 12 to 18 months. But it does come, but you've also got to take that action, haven't you, to be able to get it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's a universal law, and I can't think of it at the moment. Yeah, you literally, in order for the law of attraction to work, you have to kind of use this other universal law. So it's as you said, taking steps towards doing it. So actually doing something about it. Otherwise it's all well and good kind of visualizing, but unless you actually take steps towards doing it, then, you know, I don't know, does it work if you don't take the steps?
I don't think so. I think with most of mine, well, it depends. I think in terms of opportunities, I've had opportunities where someone's just emailed me and said, do you want to come and do this or do you want to come do that? And I'm like, oh, that's what I wanted. That's what I put out there. Do you know what I mean? But then I think in terms of the physical stuff, I've had to take action to receive it.
Law of inspired action. That's what I was looking for. Yeah.
Awesome. Right, well, thank you very much, Sinead, for coming on and speaking to us on my spiritual journey, or the spiritual journey. It's been lovely chatting with you, darling. And if people want to
speak with you for hours.
Thank you. If people want to connect with you, where's the best place for them to come and find you?
Generally on Instagram. So my name on there is @ I am Sinead C.
So I can put the links below, and then if people want to come find you, they can put in the links and come and get some Rahanni healing or a soul plan done as well.
Yes, or any guidance.
Yes,
any guidance as well. Yeah.
Fabulous. Thank you very, very much, Sinead, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thanks, Lindsay. Thank you.